to end this.
Hey, get it? She says it's time to end this because it's Arknights Endfield? I'm gonna Arknights end myself. Hi everyone, D32 Steel here, and Arknights Endfield? It's good. Like really good. And it's not just Genshin Impact again. Nothing wrong with Genshin, by the way. I'm not a hater or anything. Not yet, anyway. We'll get to that. Arknights Endfield is an upcoming, supposedly, gacha game from the people who brought you Arknights Startfield. Endfield has you exploring the world of Talos 2, which is either a mesmerizing experience with lush landscapes and purple chewing gum, or it's pain incarnate because of the stupid collect all the things as they run away from you minigame that makes you want to jump off a cliff. The game has you fighting a wide variety of enemies ranging from a guy, yeah, he's just a guy, to literally Magneton, except instead of evolving it with a Thunderstone, you instead gave it a bong and told it to use Fat Rip, which is coincidentally exactly what Gryphline was doing when they created the base building system, or AIC, a full-on technical optimizable experience that really makes you wonder, why isn't Endfield being marketed as Arknights sees the means of production? I was very impressed with the scope of Enfield's technical test, and the game is good. It looks beautiful, it's satisfying, it's unique and different. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the full release. But there is one thing that stood out to me as the worst thing about Endfield by a long shot, which is unfortunately the characters. In the tech test, we had access to 9 characters: the Administrator, Perlica, Chen, Wolfguard, Fjall, Ember, Zaihi, Aviwena, and Angelina, all of whom are, personality-wise at least, a void of anything resembling intrigue, novelty, or innovation. Now let me preface all of this by saying that yes, I am being very cynical here, and maybe I am reading into this a bit too heavily, but it is no exaggeration to say that there are 0 Endfield characters that made me feel any kind of strong emotion other than disappointment, and I've seen what Hypergriff did to Viviana. So let's start with probably the most egregious offender, Wolfguard. Contrary to what I just said, Wolfguard does in fact have a personality. The problem is that it is the equivalent of soaking used tissues in toilet water and then waterboarding yourself with it. Wolfguard says everything in a completely flat tone and shows no emotion whatsoever. He's that dude with the big sword, and he used to be a bad guy, but now he's one of us and he has very useful insider information. Importantly, however, about halfway through the story, he just fucks off, never to be seen again. But the greatest thing about all of this is that in the very next area, you meet up with Fjall, who is also paper adjacent. Fjall also acts like having a personality is just as bad as contracting an STD from a gas station restroom. He contributes nothing to the story's progression, and then you finish the zone and he's like, "These people have early onset neuropathy, I must treat them immediately." And then you leave. A friend of mine saw Fjall for the first time and then promptly sent me this image, which was somehow funnier to me than the entire Arknights community. The other 2 story characters, Perlica and Chen, both have identifiable personalities and are actually likable to an extent, but this is not to say that Wolfguard and Fjall are unlikable. The issue is that there is nothing there for you to like or dislike in the first place. It's as if the Endfield writers had a competition to write the character with the least memorable traits possible. They aren't mysterious or abrasive, there's nothing noteworthy or new in their backstory, and worst of all, it's not even at least funny. The only reason I remember Wolfguard and Fjall so poignantly is that there is so little that is memorable about them. It's kind of impressive. I'm amazed at the complete lack of depth, lack of originality, lack of intrigue these characters have, and I've read a sizable portion of Rent-A-Girlfriend. It confuses me that Endfield is trying to tie this world into the greater story of Arknights, yet none of Arknights' fantastic writing found its way into Endfield. Now this is not to say that Arknights writing is always good, it has its ups and downs, but while many Arknights characters just feel like normal people who inevitably have their own stories to tell, Endfield characters don't even feel like they belong to Talos 2. It almost feels like I'm watching yet another shitty isekai with a stupid gimmick. 5-star caster Zaihi, for example, is a softly spoken and caring technologist who has spent some time solo traveling in the frontier. She's incredibly intelligent and knowledgeable, but of course, she also exhibits a complete lack of common sense and social skills. How does it even make sense that a character like Zaihi could travel for an entire year by herself in the dangerous and wild frontier and have no common sense. I roll my eyes whenever I think about Zaihi, which is a shame because I really like her voice acting and also how her dress has jiggle physics when you spin her. But it feels like they're trying way too hard to make Zaihi into that, oops, you need to take care of me, administrator, and as payment, I won't fuck up your tax returns, hehe. But before my eyes regress back into my spinal cord, let's move on to 5-star Defender, Ember, the type of character to hear Chen's "Let's fucking go!" and reply with, "Go where?" Ember's whole big dummy who only knows how to fight personality just comes off as lame and a bit regressive. Kinda like it's trying too hard to swing wildly away from the cutesy, cheery anime uwu waifu. Now, I don't mean to say that there's anything wrong with strong female characters, that's just not the case. I just find it really stupid that whoever wrote this was like, this story isn't quirky enough. We need something that makes her kinda cute. Oh, I know, her favorite way of telling the time is how long it takes for her to destroy a bunch of sentient rocks. 5-star guard Aviwena is a seasoned messenger who has braved the perils of the frontier like no other. However, her reputation as a reliable companion and her 100% delivery rate doesn't get to her head, as she is more than willing to help complete strangers in times of need. A friendly and jovial fleeting courteous to most, Aviwena is nonetheless a dependable asset to Endfield Industries. You know, I kinda wonder where I've heard this before. And while we're on the topic of Angelina, Angelina's implementation in Endfield struck me as a little bit odd, because I feel like the only reason I'd take a liking to Angelina in Endfield is because I already like Angelina in Arknights. There is really nothing in her file that gives me any idea of who Angelina is, and honestly, if I didn't play Arknights, there is really no reason at all, from a textual standpoint, to care about Angelina. And finally, the administrator, who does the thing where people ask her questions and she's like, "I don't speak to fucking plebeians, bitch." Now, I get that the MC is a self-insert character and she's intentionally mysterious, but honestly, instead of just, I would rather they let her go full Administrator, because even that would command more of my respect than 5 seconds of literally nothing. Also, the Administrator is arguably the main character of the story, so why is her greatest contribution to the story's progression the fact that she can open doors? Seriously, when it comes to the Endmin, I don't even know why I exist. Is there a problem I have to solve? Is Talos 2 having a malfunctioning door uprising? Are there cute horse girls in my area that I can text for a quick ride? None of this is explained, save for this throwaway line that the Administrator is only awoken in times of great crisis. The only crisis that was presented to me throughout the entire story was a midlife crisis, because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing here. The characters of Endfield don't feel like the frontier trailblazers of Talos 2. Instead, they feel like bad Arknights fanfiction, and even then, bad Arknights fanfiction has original ideas. It has things you never knew you needed, and most of all, there is love and care poured into it. Experiencing these characters really just makes me wonder, is this the best of what Endfield has to offer? Is this the pinnacle? Has Endfield peaked already? Because if so, I hope they don't add any horses, because it's just gonna make me depressed. Now, I really don't want to be just another hater, but I'm really looking forward to Endfield. I'm excited, and I want to love this game like I do Arknights, but as a lore enjoyer, I have to question if it's even worth reading the story when it comes out. If it's even worth diving deeply into these characters, because the showing that they had here was some of the most uninspired, unoriginal, and honestly, safe writing that I've read in a long time. Not written to wow the reader or generate any controversy, it's just middle of the road nothingness whose most memorable trait is how unmemorable it is. I'm really glad that the rest of Endfield blew me away. The game is great and has a lot of potential, and I want to reiterate that while I've been very negative in this video, Endfield was really fun and I am still looking forward to it. But if there is one thing I'd change, it's that Angelina has the fucking hide the pain Harold smile, and I want to Arknights end myself.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.